What's going on, everybody? Sports expert here. And the Los Angeles Lakers, they aren't having the greatest season so far. They're sitting at 14 and 13 with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook fitting in that big three. All right, so the first trade we have here for the Los Angeles Lakers, as they are acquiring shooting guard Jeremy Lamb from the Indiana Pacers for Kendrick Nunn, Dwight Howard, and two second round picks. And I believe the Lakers would also throw another player in there too, as Avery Bradley would be in there as well. So yeah, the Los Angeles Lakers, they need some shooting badly, and a guy that could definitely step in right away is Jeremy Lamb. Wayne Ellington's been pretty serviceable for the Lakers so far, but if they want to go all the way and potentially shock some teams in the playoffs, a guy like Jeremy Lamb would be a key player to their roster and a guy that would definitely help the Los Angeles Lakers. And if I'm the Lakers, I would definitely pull the trigger on this move. They need shooting badly, and Lamb gives them that. And if you're the Pacers, do you pull this move off? You're going into rebuild mode. You get a nice player in Kendrick Nunn who's still a bit young. You get a couple veterans that you could move at the deadline and that you could potentially move maybe via buyout if you can't find a deal in Dwight Howard and Avery Bradley, and give your young players more time playing. And you get a couple seconds, which are a couple assets, not too highly valued, but there's a bit of value to that, as the Pacers and Lakers could make this trade work after December 15th, obviously, as most of these trades will be able to work December 15th after. So, yeah. But Jeremy Lamb to the Lakers would definitely be something that we could look out for. And the second deal we have here, as the New Orleans Pelicans would be sending point guard Vontae Graham to the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Lakers would be sending multiple players back to the New Orleans Pelicans and multiple picks. They would be sending a 2025 first-round pick, a 2024 and a 2023 second-round pick. They would also be sending Kendrick Nunn back and Malik Monk back to the Pelicans alongside Dwight Howard. So this could be an interesting trade as the Pelicans get some veterans that could help them now, and they get a nice young player in Kendrick Nunn that could help them in the future. And in case you guys are wondering, Taylor Horton-Tucker, THT, cannot be traded right now due to his contract situation, as he was recently signed and had his bird rights acquired by the Lakers, so he will not be able to be traded until March 3rd, which is a bit too late after the trade deadline. So they're going to have to settle with the trade assets they have now, which makes it interesting, as a Devontae Graham trade would be interesting for the Los Angeles Lakers, as it seems like the Pelicans are one of those teams that will trade players away and will try to gain as much back, even if it's young players or veterans. And they're a team that definitely takes on a lot of veterans. So Dwight Howard and a guy like Malik Monk, that would not be surprising if the Pelicans decided to take on those guys. Kendrick Nunn would be enticing as well. They get the draft picks too, as Graham has 4 more years left on his deal at $11 million per year. And if you're the Pelicans, do you want to do this deal? It's definitely interesting. But if you're the Lakers, I'm definitely doing this deal 100%. You get a solid point guard in Devontae Graham. You can pair him with Russell Westbrook, and then you can have a lineup out there with Graham, Westbrook. You can keep Wayne Ellington on the bench if you'd like. You'd have LeBron, AD, and maybe you go out and acquire a center. But a guy, I guess they could keep DeAndre Jordan if they're really interested in him, even though he hasn't been the greatest so far. DeAndre Jordan's just washed. I don't think the Lakers would be too enticed to keeping him at starting center. And that's what came to my mind, a Miles Turner trade. But the only problem with that is there's not really much of a way that they can make it work. So the Lakers would have to do some serious improvising if they want something to work like that. So that's why I think Devontae Graham is more of a realistic deal here. The third trade we have here for the Los Angeles Lakers involves the San Antonio Spurs, and Bryn Forbes, shooting guard, is who's going to be going to the Los Angeles Lakers here, as I really like this deal for the Lakers, as Bryn Forbes creates spacing, shooting. He shoots over 40% from 3. He was one of the better three-point shooters in the league last year with Milwaukee, and he's another guy that would give the Lakers instant spacing and three-point shooting. And the Spurs would also take on Dwight Howard, Malik Monk, and a couple more picks. They would also take on a couple seconds in 2023 and 2024. So the Lakers, the only trade assets they have right now is Dwight Howard, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn. I guess they could, throw in DeAndre Jordan if the Lakers would rather keep Dwight Howard. But Bryn Forbes exactly would make this team a very solid contender in the West. And yes, I did say that because of his three-point shooting. The Lakers are lacking in that area right now as of late, and Forbes would be huge for the Lakers in that regard. And the Lakers need shooting. They need whatever they can do to stay close with teams and everything, and three-point shooting is a key in the NBA now, as it's been for a few seasons. Bryn Forbes would bring that to the Los Angeles Lakers, and I believe Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka would definitely be interested in a trade like this. And Forbes, I think he's going to gain a ton of interest at the deadline. San Antonio is a team that doesn't rebuild. They like to gather young players and young older veterans at points, and Malik Monk and Dwight Howard can definitely improve their team in ways, but at the same time they're losing a impact three-point shooter in Bryn Forbes, and the Lakers would definitely benefit here. The fourth and final trade for the Los Angeles Lakers to make them a title contender once again is the biggest one of them all, and that's them acquiring Damian Lillard from the Los Angeles Lakers. And I have the Lakers sending over Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, and a 2025 first, along with another second-round pick in 2023, and maybe a 2024 second-round pick that would be highly protected, though. So this would be an interesting trade for both sides. Damian Lillard, even though it hasn't really been said, he's clearly frustrated with the way the Portland Trail Blazers are going. The Blazers have been reluctant to trade him, but at the same time, the Lakers would definitely be they would be smart to at least inquire about a guy like Damian Lillard here. And Lillard would provide so much for them. He would provide scoring. He would provide playmaking, etc. Everything for the Los Angeles Lakers. Basically anything. He would provide that winning spark for this Los Angeles Lakers team. And going to the Blazers would obviously be Russell Westbrook. As the Trailblazers don't take that much of a step back with the Lillard trade, as they do gain Westbrook. They get a couple draft picks, and they also acquire Malik Monk in the trade, as that definitely helps their depth and their scoring, as they could have a potential duo of Russell Westbrook, C.J. McCollum, as you still have Yusuf Nurkic on the team. You have Larry Nance Jr., Malik Monk now on the team, along with a solid young point guard coming off the bench, Anthony Simons. Team's still solid, and Nazir Little's improving, so it wouldn't be the worst thing for the Portland Trail Blazers. The Los Angeles Lakers, if they want to go all in and win the title, I think Damian Lillard needs to be the guy they need to go after, and to make it work, they would have to give it Westbrook, and I think it would be the smart move for the Lakers. The Westbrook experiment is just not working in Los Angeles, and I kind of knew it wouldn't work. I feel like it would work much better in Portland, but Portland is the team. Who knows if they're going to want Westbrook. Chauncey Billups is that guy. You know, we'll see what his mindset's on, but maybe he's the guy that's interested in Russell Westbrook and a potential pairing with him and McCollum, as that would definitely be interesting, as the Portland Trail Blazers would be able to gain Malik Monk and a few draft picks back for Lillard, as they still are able to contend in the West potentially. So I appreciate everyone being here. Sports Expert here. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on the post notification bell. Like the video. Comment what you think. That would help in the algorithm. That would appreciate it a ton, as these are 4 trades that would help the Lakers and potentially save their season. I'm out, guys. Sports Expert here. Peace.